I am Obi, a woman once filled with dreams of a perfect family. I had married the love of my life, Chike. Together, we built a home filled with joy and laughter, the kind of happiness one hopes for in a marriage. But behind the smiles and the facade of bliss, there was a darkness I couldn't shake. I was childless. For years, I carried the weight of our unfulfilled desires. The sorrow crept in like a silent predator, growing with ever failed pregnancy. Each time I conceived, my heart would soar with hope, only for it to be dashed by the second month. It always happened the same way. The baby will mysteriously die. No medical explanation, no sign of warning. It was as if something beyond the physical world was at play, something terrifying. Chike, my beloved husband, was my pillar of strength through it all. He was kind and patient, always assuring me that we would one day hold our child. Obi, we are strong together. Our time will come, he would say, wrapping his arms around me whenever I felt like breaking. But despite his comforting words, I sensed his own frustration growing with each loss. A man can only take so much. Yet there was something else that unsettled me, something that always lurked in the background. Chike's mother, Norma. She visited often and unannounced and with an strange regularity. At first, I thought it came out of love to console her son and daughter in law, but as time passed, her presence filled me with unease. There was something strange about her visit. Each time she came, she enforced a bizarre rule. By midnight, I had to be in bed, lights out and asleep. She insisted on this with an intensity that made my skin crawl. I remember the first time I asked her about it. Mama, why must I sleep exactly at midnight and in total darkness? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. It's tradition, my daughter. It's for your own good. Trust me, it's best that way. I didn't understand her reasoning, but I obliged. How could I argue with an elder, especially my husband's mother? Still, I couldn't shake this discomfort. I felt especially when I started having a particular terrifying dream. Each time I got pregnant, the dream would come. I would find myself in a dark forest, the air thick with fog, and then out of nowhere, a snake would slither towards me. Its eyes burned red and its scales shimmered under the moonlight. But the most horrifying part was that the snake wasn't just any serpent, it was Noma. Her face would flicker on the serpent's body, hissing at me, baring her fangs. In these dreams, she always devoured my unborn child. I would wake up sweating, trembling, my heart pounding in my chest. Obi, you're just stressed, Chike would tell me whenever I confided in him. My mother is not a snake, she loves you. But the dream felt too real, too consistent, it haunted me. It was only when I got pregnant for the fourth time that I started to panic. This time, something had to change. I had to do something different, Chike. I said one night as we laid in bed, please, whatever you do, don't tell your mother about this pregnancy. I have a bad feeling. Chike turned to face me, his brow furrowing in confusion. But why? She's my mother too, and yours as well. I hesitated, unsure if I should confess my dreams to him again, but I had to. It's a dream, Chike. Every time I get pregnant, I dream about her as a snake, and she always ate the baby. I know it sounds insane, but please, this time, let's keep it from her. For a moment, he did not speak. Then, after, he nodded slowly. All right, Obi, I won't tell her. I breathed a sign of relief. Maybe, just maybe, this time things will be different. Chike traveled frequently from work, and a week after, I told him not to involve his mother. He was gone again. I was left alone in our home, trying my best to stay calm and positive. My days were filled with quiet anticipation, hoping trending through my heart. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to believe that this pregnancy might go smoothly. But as the second month of my pregnancy approached, that familiar sense of dread began to creep in again. I tried to dismiss it, telling myself that the dream was just a dream. But deep down, the fear gnawed at me. One night, as I sat in the living room reading a book to distract myself, there was a loud knock on the door. The sound startled me, my heart skipping a beat. It was late, well past 10 p.m. No one ever came by that time. My hands trembled as I set down the book and made my way to the door. I opened it slowly, my breath catching in my throat. Standing there, cloaked in the darkness, was Norma, my mother-in-law. Her face was expressionlessly, her eyes piercing as they met mine. Obi, she said softly. Though her voice seemed to echo through the quiet night, I heard the news. My heart sank. How could she possibly know? Chike had promised not to tell her. I hadn't told a soul. Yet here she was, standing at my doorstep, her presence like a shadow stretching over my fragile hope. I don't understand, I stammered, stepping back. She took a step forward, her eyes narrowing. You should be in bed by now, Obi, and the lights turned off. Obi, you look surprised, she said, her voice cool but dripping with something I couldn't quite place. She turned her gaze on me, sharp and unwavering. You must know by now that I always find out. A mother always knows. I swallowed hard, forcing a smile. Of course, Mama, please come in. As she entered, the air around her seemed to change, heavy, oppressive, filled with an energy that made my skin prickle. I closed the door behind her, fighting the urge to bolt from the house together. She took her usual seat, right in the center of the living room like a queen reclaiming her throne. Obi, she said, her voice commanding and direct. You should know by this time. You should be in bed by now, and the lights off. It's not safe to stay up this late. I forced myself to keep calm. I had promised this speech for her so many times before, but tonight it felt different, more ominous. Yes, Mama, I was just about to go to bed, I said, my voice barely hiding the tension I felt. She smiled, but it was a thin, tight smile. Good. You know that I expect sleep by midnight and no light. I nodded, although every fiber of my being wanted to protest. Why was it so important to her? Why this strange rule? But I didn't dare question her, not tonight, not after the unease that had already settled in my bones. I made my way to the bedroom, my heart pounding as I tried to follow the routine she demanded. I turned off the lights in the room, casting the house into darkness. And Norma followed me down the hallway, her presence lingering like a shadow. Good night, Mama, I called out, hoping to end the transaction as quickly as possible. Good night, Obi. Remember, sleep deeply, she replied from just outside the door, her voice laced with something that felt more like a warning than a wish. I lay there in the pitch black room, my mind racing, my heart was beating so loudly I could hear it in my ears, but I couldn't shake the sense that something was terribly wrong. I closed my eyes, trying to force myself into sleep, but it didn't take too long for the familiar dream to wash over me. Once again, I found myself in that dark forest, the fog thick and suffocating. The air was cold, and the earth's silence wrapped itself around me like a vice. My breath quickened as I walked deeper into the forest, knowing what was to come but powerlessly to stop it. And then, just as before, the snake appeared. It slithered out from the shadows, its scales glittering in the dim light of the moon. My heart seized as I saw it red, glowing, fixed on me, and there as always was Norma's face, flickering as the snake's body. She hissed and lunged towards me, cooling around my body and sinking her teeth into my abdomen. I screamed, but no sound came out. I could hear her, feel the pain, feel her consuming my baby. I woke up with a violent start, gasping for air. My body was drenched in sweat, my clothes sticking to my skin. The room was spinning, and my breath came in short, ranging bursts. My heart raced as I tried to steady myself, but the fear from the dream lingered, gripping me like a vice. Not again, I whispered, clutching my chest. I struggled to catch my breath, my mind still half caught in the nightmare. Panic glared at my inside, threatening to take control. I tried to focus, but the terror wouldn't let go. I sat up in bed, my stomach churning with pain. No, no, please, not again. I whispered, feeling the familiar ache low in my belly. It was happening, the same pain I felt every time I lost a child, every time the second month approached. Frantic, I reached for the small lamp on the nightstand. My hand was shaking so badly. It took me several attempts to switch it on. When the soft light finally flickered to life, my heart stopped. There on my stomach was a massive snake. Its body was coiled around me, its weight pressing down on my abdomen. I could feel its cold scales against my skin. Its red eyes locked onto mine. The snake's mouth was open, its fang bared, and as if it was trying to devour what was inside of me. I screamed, my voice barely escaping my throat as the horror of what I was seeing took hold. The snake didn't move, didn't slither away. It stayed there, its eye glowing like two embers in the night, its mouth working as if trying to bite into me, into my womb. With an instinct for survival I had never felt before in my panic, I grabbed the lamp from the nightstand and without a second thought, I slung it at the creature. The lamp struck its head with a dull thud, and to my horror, the sound that followed was not a hiss but a low human like groan of pain. It was unmistakably the voice of my mother in law, Norma. I froze for a second, unable to comprehend what I just heard. How could a snake sound like a Norma? I scrambled off the bed, my mind racing. I needed something stronger, something that would end this nightmare once and for all. In a haste, I went to the kitchen and got a knife. Then I re entered the room. The snake was still there, coiled on the bed, watching me with those terrifying red eyes. It seemed to sense my intent, and I could feel its energy shift. Less confident, more defensive. I grabbed the knife tightly and approached it with a determination I had never known. In the name of Jesus, I shouted again, raising the knife above my head. I struck the snake with the knife, driving the blade deep into its thick, scaly body. Blood spurted from the wound, thick and dark, staining the sheet with my hands. I kept stabbing and stabbing, declaring the blood of Jesus with each blow. My heart stopped as I watched in disbelief. The snake wasn't just shrinking, it was transforming. Within a moment, the massive serpent was gone, and lying there on my bed, soaked in blood, was Norma, my mother in law. I staggered backward, dropping the knife in shock. Oh my God! So it has been my mother in law. She lay dead before me. I immediately called my husband Chike, who rushed back home. Obi, are you sure about this? Chike asked, his voice trembling. How could my mother be responsible for all of this? He was shocked when he got to the room and saw his lifeless mother. He was in pain and started shedding tears. Oh, Mama, why could you do such a bad thing, a horrible evil to me and my family? After Norma's death, everything changed. Months later, I gave birth to two beautiful twins, a boy and a girl. The joy that filled my heart when I held them in my arms was indescribable. After years of headache and loss, my dream had finally come true. I was a mother. Hello guys, we've come to the end of this story. I hope you did enjoy it. For my returning subscribers, a big thank you. And if this is your first time of joining us, you're highly welcome. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and share this video with your friends and your family.